market. That is this other half of the market, which is not connected. This one, the drains are not connected to this other drains. So these drains here, as you can see, we are decluttering it. We're trying to remove the blockage that is there. Once that blockage is removed, water from this end will now be able to pass through the perimeter of the market and then make its way to the Jambarsane culvert and exit to the main one, the main drain. But the problem here is, this used to be a main road before. And because it was a main road, what was happening is they had the drains on one side of the road and drains on the other side of the road. This side of the road, the drains that are on this side of the road were supposed to be connected to the other drains that go around the Gunjur highway from Brikama Central. But what happened is, subsequent years of reconstruction of those roads, they blocked the drainage. They didn't do any culvert to enable the water to pass from the market to the central canals or the central drains that we have from Brikama. As a result, this side of the market now is basically unconnected to any main drain. So the last 2 years we had to depend on septic tanks. We've been hiring septic tanks to drain the waters that are usually flowed here. This time around, what we want to do is to make sure now that the market is connected to the drains going out of the market, is to connect this side to this side. So now they are now unblocking this drain, the main drain from this side of the road. Once they get to this very point, they will do the connection between the two sides. So hopefully that might start tomorrow and it will end on maybe Thursday. But hopefully by Saturday, our hope is that once it rains on Saturday, this side and this side will be connected and water will be able to make its way around the market and exit through the culvert that we have around the GTSC, and then makes its way to the new culvert that we constructed on the Jambarsane highway, and then to the Jambarsane canals and out of the central Brikama. Now, this is very, very important because this end is literally one half of the problem areas or the most challenging areas we have in this market. That is this the central market mosque end. That is this end. It usually is inundated with water, and this water will be stagnant there, and people will not even be able to pray during the rainy season. But over the last 2 years, we've been using septic tanks to drain the water that usually floats there. But we've been doing our own studies. We've done the studies for 2 years, and this year we are able to find the solution. So what we need to do is, after this one, we have only one more area, which is the Taylor's area next to the fish market. That is where we will want to also attack and then try to get that also connected to the main drains, and then all the waters will be able to leave the market safely. What we need to do next year is to connect this other section to the same culvert that we've done at that end, so that now instead of having only or depending on only one exit from the market, we will have 2 exits, this one and that one, and that will make the flow of water very, very easy for us. At the moment, when it rains heavily, you go to the main drains on the other side, you will see the velocity of the water is very, very high. That's because the whole market is dependent on one exit. And that is the only exit, unfortunately, that has been left to us by the NRA and the road constructors. They did all the roads around this market, but they decided to leave only one culvert. And that is the only culvert the whole market is dependent on. And that is more or less the only culvert that is connecting one side of Brikama from the other side. And that is very sad, because we should have at least 3 or 4 should be in this area to enable the water to flow. But that is not happening. So next year too, we are going to do the second part of the second culvert, connecting this other side of the market out of the market, and that will connect to the drainage, the culvert that we've done this year, and you will see all the waters will be able to go safely. Now, the thing is, this is like a pilot scheme, because Brikama Central is the busiest market we have in the region. And that's why we said this year we're going to do something about this problem. This perennial problem we inherited here, we are going to make sure we address it. Now, I think 50% of it, we will be able to address that this year, but we still have another 50% to go. And hopefully next year, we'll be able to add another 25 to that. That will make it 75. And then hopefully, it should all be able to, we should gradually get to 100%. And then flooding and drainage water issue around our market and or central Brigama would be addressed. But it's doing and this is something I need to tell the people. The reason why we attacked markets, because this is where more people converge on a daily basis. Now, to do the drainage for the whole of Brikama and that of the whole of West Coast will cost billions. Councils don't have that kind of money. Central government needs to do subvention for us to be able to do that. The only way we can do it now is to approach it in this way, piecemeal by piecemeal. When we finish this year, like this year, the rainy season, we will also be studying Old Yundum market, Coastal Road market. We have to study it, look at the pattern of the water, and then be able to, with our engineers and our technicians, we go there, we study the water flow, and then that will enable us to find at least a bit of a respite, like we've done here. It took us two good rainy seasons to be able to understand the right passage or the right path for water from this market. And this year we were able to implement it, and thank God it is working as we planned it. And I think everyone is a bit satisfied about that. But as I said, it only addressed 50% of our problems. We still have another 50% to go. And hopefully next year we will add 25% to that, makes it 75. That would ease the pressure or the challenge a lot more for people coming into the market.
Well, that is very commendable. But again, further, this need for the country to be mainly focusing on Brikama. But during your deliberations, I heard something. You mentioned something like Coastal Road.
Coastal Road, yes. No, these are our biggest markets. Brikama is number 1. Second is Coastal Road. Third is Tanje, and then you have Lameng, and we have all the other markets. So we have a lot of markets that we are targeted, but we have to start somewhere. We cannot start everywhere. We want to start everywhere, but we don't have the resources. But what we've done is, because we did not want other region or other wards to be waiting on the council to come, we decided to give them their own fair share. We call it Ward Development Fund. We given out 500,000 last year, 1 million this year. Our preferred option would be to give each region at least 5 million, 10 million. That's why a region like this, we need about 100 million to 200 million dollars of subvention from central government. If we get that, each of our region would at least get 10 million, 5 million. We wouldn't be waiting on the council. Council will be busy everywhere. But as you can see, everywhere people are busy doing something. In Gunjur, they're talking about fencing, women gardens, boreholes. In Sintet, they're doing a bridge, footpath. In other places, they're doing a whole lot of works are going on everywhere. Everybody is getting their fair share. What is happening is, the council as a council is giving priority to its busiest markets. And Brikama is the number 1. That's why we are not talking about the whole of Brikama, because we know we don't have the money for all of Brikama. But our market, this is where we receive thousands of visitors on a daily basis. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people are visiting us here. And we have thousands and thousands of vendors that are selling in this market. Temporary canteens alone in this market goes up to 2,000 plus. So this is a very big market. So as a result of that, we need to try and make the people's experience of this market uplifted a little bit. And that's exactly what we are doing. And one way of changing that experience is to make sure that the ears, when they come in here, they have to take off their shoes and then unfold their sleeves and other things. This year, we want them to be able to see a bit of a difference. And hopefully next year, this will be addressed. After here, then we can start going to the next busiest one, which is Coastal Road. From there, we attack another one. But if you tell us, because you have not started Coastal Road, you cannot start Brikama, when are we going to start anything? Because if we start Coastal Road, people in Brikama are also going to say, what is wrong with these people? Our busiest market, they have abandoned that one, and now they are wasting their time on a second busiest or the less busier one. So you cannot, development has to start somewhere. You cannot say because I do not have it, the other person cannot have it. We have to change that mentality, move that mentality of our heads. What we need to do is, at least we're starting somewhere. It needs to start somewhere. Once it works here, we then take that that knowledge, that experience, that skill that we have from implementing here to somewhere else and make it work there. You know what I mean? In Sukuta, they are working on the market. They're doing very well with the toilets and everything. That is coming from their World Development Fund. So everywhere is getting something that they are doing. And that can only happen when you have a proactive council that is putting the people's interests first. But we have to start somewhere. Even counting starts from 1. It doesn't start from 2, 3. It starts from 1, 2, 3. So we have to start from Brikama, then we move. And one good reason why we have to start at Brikama, it is our capital. If you come to the capital of this region and that one is a lot more backwarded, you can think of everywhere else will be a lot more backwarded. So we need this place to be more developed, and then other people catch the flow.
To the sustenance and maintenance of this drainage system.
So what we are doing, especially with the market vendors, they are organizing themselves. They are organizing some sort of sectional at least once a month to clean their part or their section of the drainage. That's what the guys at Nyambi Junction have offered to do, and they've started it and they're continuing to do that. They said every month they will do one. But we as a council ourselves also take it upon ourselves that to make sure we continuously clean these drains. You go to Rwanda, some of our councillors went there. They said in Rwanda, they have the government assigned or employed people who clean every 100 meters. They are assigned to 100 meters, which they clean the drain regularly. We cannot sit and say, oh, our people, they dump the waste into the dustbin, the drains, and because of that, we're going to let it go like that. No, that's what happened over the years. And then what happened is, as you can see, we are now trying to remove those dirt and a lot of things that have been accumulating for years and years, and we are trying to clean all of that. That's because it's not been happening on a regular basis. What needs to happen is, the council has to take it as its obligation, its duty, number one core priority, to make sure not only does it provide drains, but it regularly cleans those drains, especially in the rainy season. We cannot run away from that. We cannot find excuses. We shouldn't find excuses. We have to make that a responsibility and deal with it year in, year out. Create a budget for it, deal with it. Because if the water doesn't flow, it will. If it doesn't flow, it will flood. And when it floods, it causes crisis for our people. So to avoid that, we need to make sure it becomes this part of our mental thinking that we need to make sure that we are able, we clean the drains not only once in the rainy season, but every month. So the people we hired, next month we will get them to go back onto drains. Anywhere we find blockages, they remove it throughout the rainy season to make sure our drains are not blocked during this rainy season. Once we do that, it is sustainable. But you cannot achieve sustainability by saying that everybody needs to change their attitude. It's not going to happen overnight. The Gambians will always find somewhere to dump until everywhere is like Dr. Caesar will say when we tile Sukuta, everywhere is until probably when everywhere is tiled, then people themselves will be discouraged from doing it. You know what I mean? Because it would have been that. But until then, you know, people would. We expect them to speed, we expect them to dump and everything.